We are rapidly approaching the end of January, and the news that came this week that was the most surprising was the fact that Royal Caribbean has sold Azamara Club Cruises. It really took us by surprise. As a matter of fact, the first time I saw this was when my favorite cruise director for Azamara, Eric the Grey, posted it on his social. And you know, it's funny because you figure people like this would not joke about that. And as I read the commentary, I saw that this was a happening event. And so I went to my official sources to get the news firsthand, including the sale price, which sent me digging again because the sale price was so minuscule considering they're getting three luxury ships. They're getting the Journey, the Pursuit, and the Quest. Beautiful ships. Oh my goodness. I remember sailing on the Journey in 2018. Beautiful ship. It really made me feel as though I was in I'm thinking something old English at certain points. When we're having breakfast, for example, on the deck, I felt like I was on this private yacht. It was so intimate. We were like 401, 407 clients sailing, and it was just so personal. We did a 10-day sailing, and after 3-4 days, you really begin to get to know the staff, and it was really so warm. It was really disturbing for me. What was stunning was the fact that for only $201 million in cash, the sale was effected. So you look at it and you say, wow, for 3 working ships for an entire company, that's peanuts. But circumstances certainly dictate outcomes. And with almost a year of no sale, it has been a very trying time for the world of cruising. And Royal Caribbean has had to make some decisive moves. And so this sale to a private equity firm called Sycamore Partners will give them the liquidity that they need, because we're still in the no sale time frame. The test cruises have not yet happened, and as a matter of fact, more and more companies are pushing forward their presumed startup date. And I think we can probably look on a few of those right now. But just before we do that, another item that made the news, which of course was also very surprising, was the fact that Princess Cruises has offloaded one of her ships. And that, I can tell you, was predicted by some because it's an older ship, but by others it was disappointing. For others it was very disappointing because that ship that was sold was one of the favorites. Now the ship being spoken of is Pacific Princess, and she has had the illustrious career of sailing and circumnavigating the world, and she was really loved by all of the princess followers and cruisers. Now Pacific Princess joined the Princess line in 2002. However, she initially entered service in 1999. She's a small vessel with only capacity for 670 passengers, similar to the size vessels they were called the R3 Renaissance, the R3 class vessels, and similar to what Azamara and Oceania operates. Now, Princess is said to have sailed more than 1.6 million nautical miles. So she has done her journey, and the undisclosed purchaser, of course, has not stated whether she will be used in some other seafaring venture or if she's headed to the scrap heap. You would have also seen in a previous video where Marella Cruises planned to make her big launch into the North American market, and also that she intended to have a shortened sailing for the Caribbean for 2021. Well, news just in is that early program, February through April 30th, so February, I think it was mid-February, about the 14th, somewhere there, through to April 30th, has been cancelled. And this has affected the Marella Discovery in particular, which would have been sailing from Montego Bay, Jamaica. And these were these iconic sailings that were just so fascinating. The Brits would fly over, they would do a few days on land with a resort and then move on to the cruise, and or do some extension on the back end before returning to the UK and Europe. As it stands as well, the Canadian market had really been enjoying this option, and we're very saddened, particularly since it was one of our top sellers for the winter period, that this option is not available for the season for 2021. However, they have already advised and they have put the itineraries out for the 2021-2022 sailing. And we have our signature favorites, Pride of Panama. We also are showing this one sailing, which is on March 22 for 2022, and this is the Panama Canal experience. I would suggest to all of you, since it's just one sailing and it is such a wonderful itinerary, that you do not procrastinate. We are open for early bookings and we have a reduced deposit. Now is the time for you to take advantage of this sailing because it's going to sell out really fast. Marella has also decided to part with 2 of her vessels, and so we're seeing where the Celebration and the Dream have been sold and they have left the fleet. So currently for the Caribbean sailings, we are still operating with the Marella Discovery 2, which will sail from Kingston, and we also have the sailing from Bridgetown, Barbados. We'll now need to reconfirm which ship will be doing that based on the changes that have occurred in the marketplace. So according to Marella's official website, it is showing that the Marella Explorer 2 will continue to sail from Bridgetown, Barbados, and we're really looking forward to this. I remember the review that I got from our honeymooners that sailed from Jamaica for their March 2019. They had such a ball, and to think they also got a free upgrade to a balcony. Interestingly, because when they got their invite for their anniversary sailing, they were touting the joys that they encountered with sailing Marella, stating that it would be hard for another cruise line to top that experience, but we have good things in store for them. Now, Singaporeans have gotten the good news that the Quantum of the Seas sailing, which began on December 3 from Royal Caribbean, will continue all the way through to the summer of this year 2021. In this report from Cruise Critic, it says, as you know, Quantum of the Seas resumed operations in Singapore last month, and continues to offer short cruise getaways to local residents. Her success has prompted the decision to keep the ship in the Asia Pacific region throughout the summer months. Now, of course, with every good news, on the flip side, there's a possibility of bad news. And the bad news is the Quantum of the Seas had her Alaska schedule to start over the summer, and those first sailings, as a matter of fact, the first sailing should have been on April 25th. And so the bad news is that for this year, beginning April 25th through to October 14th, all Alaska cruises on Quantum of the Seas have been canceled. Lots of disappointments. I saw the responses when the news broke earlier on in the week. Persons were devastated, to say the least. And along with that itinerary change, we would have seen a Trans-Pacific that should have happened, as well as a special Hawaii sailing on the Quantum of the Seas. And so all of that, everything on this side of the world have suffered from this change. And so Singapore residents for the rest of this winter season into summer will enjoy their cruises to nowhere for 3-night sailings. And of course, as has been said so many times, it is open only to residents of Singapore. So cruising is going on in some parts of the world. And this strict protocol that was implemented by government officials of Singapore and which have been upheld by Royal Caribbean have seen smashing success. And so those persons are able, with a negative COVID test result, to enjoy the wonders of the Quantum class ship, Quantum of the Seas, as she sails every 3 days within the Singaporean Asian space. Now, just to wrap up this segment on cruise news, Princess Cruises, we're back to Princess again. Princess has now officially canceled her Alaska season. Or has she? Well, she has canceled Alaska through mid-May, which suggests that she is anticipating that they will have an opportunity to sail. But of course, Canada has maintained the ban on the size vessels that can traverse Canadian waters. And so even though Princess has a mid-May possible startup, we'll have to wait and see. Now, Holland America, sister company, has canceled all her Alaska cruises through mid-May. And Alaska departures on 3 of her ships have been canceled through to early June. Now, in the same family, we're still with Carnival Corporation, the luxury liner Cunard. They have canceled their entire 2021 Alaska cruise season. And they are making a statement, I would want to think, based on what we see happening in terms of the Jones Act. This is where we're going to catch it for this presentation on cruise news today. However, the new requirement that comes into effect this week, put in place by the CDC for all persons entering the US by air, has really thrown travel into a new tailspin. So stick around, watch this spot. We're going to be giving you a list of resorts in Jamaica and the Caribbean and how they will be assisting or even taking care of the costs for the COVID testing, so as to ensure that this new decision does not put our winter tourism season on pause. This is Sheri. Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited seeks to keep you informed and abreast of all that's happening in the world of travel and beyond. Ciao for now.